A very good morning to all of you. Warm welcome to my presentation. And today's lecture will be on the topic fiscal policy. So today we are going to discuss about the current situation in the economy and how it is going to impact the US economy, and we'll give examples relating to the impact of COVID-19 on the fiscal policy. We'll discuss about various aspects of government spending, and at the end there will be question and answers. In this chapter, we have 4 learning objectives. After completing this chapter, you will be able to use the traditional Keynesian analysis to evaluate the effect of discretionary fiscal policy. Objective 2 is to discuss the ways in which indirect crowding out and direct expenditure offsets can reduce the effectiveness of fiscal policy actions. The third learning objective is to list and define the fiscal policy time lags and explain why they complicate efforts to engage in fiscal fine-tuning. The fourth learning objective is to describe how certain aspects of the fiscal policy function as automatic stabilizers for the economy. So today what I'm going to do, I'll create separate videos for different learning objectives, and this will help you to understand the topic better because of the smaller duration of the presentation. The world has changed a lot in the last few weeks. Many of the biggest sporting, entertainment, political events have been suspended. Businesses are closed. Food and beverage industry like restaurants, the travel and tourism industry like in the aircraft business, and many other small and local business as well as large manufacturing companies are closed, resulting in decline in the stock market performance. The US stock market has taken a major hit because of the COVID-19. The coronavirus is primarily a very major health issue related to public, but it has also some of the economic implications. As you have noticed, there are two aspects under this situation of crisis. There is an aggregate demand shock and an aggregate supply shock. Now, there must be several questions that is coming to your mind, and you may be thinking what to do or what is the right thing to do at the current scenario. Have you ever thought of different questions like, should federal government spend more or less? Where they should spend more, in which areas, in which sector? Should government borrow more money? Is it the right time to increase the taxes? How to manage the unemployment rate? And can you link all these questions to government spending? Well, the answer to it lies with the understanding of the fiscal policy. Now the question is how it is going to impact the fiscal policy. How US have taken major steps and strategies to formulate its current fiscal policy and also the future fiscal policies, you know, under this unprecedented change due to COVID-19.
I was reading an article recently, and it was a very interesting article. The topic of the article was what should a fiscal response to a COVID-19 look like? And they have provided four aspects relating to that. Now, US have declared a public health emergency, and it may have a significant impact on the population as well as the economy. The US have made major changes in the monetary policy like cutting down the interest rate to help to boost the economy, but not just the monetary policy, but fiscal policy plays an important role as well, because these policies will help you to automatically trigger some kind of stimulus to change in the economic conditions. If you look about, or if you look into or the answer of this question, as per the article, there are four ways to make a response to this question. A fiscal package should contain these type of responses like, first, spend money to stop and contain the public health crisis. Second, help the state to deal with the crisis. So help all the states to deal with the crisis. Third, fix the possible holes in the safety net. Last but not least, engage in targeted lending based on the supply chain bottlenecks or temporary losses due to demand cutbacks. Looking at the first aspect, there are many number of actions that need to be taken to limit the public health crisis. The federal government should immediately step into, to fund this measure, including paying for testing, supplying for testing kits, providing the protection to gear the frontline health workers, first responders, and staffing up supplies to health center. These actions are needed on the merits to mitigate the damage of COVID-19, but they are a form of stimulus since federal government is paying for them. The second aspect is help the states to deal with the crisis. The federal government should immediately increase the federal share of Medicaid spending. A health crisis will increase the demand on Medicaid as more people need testing, are sick, or seek medical care. By picking up a large share of the cost of Medicaid, the federal government can make sure the budget decisions do not constrain the health response by the states, and also ensure that increased Medicaid costs do not force states to cut spending in other areas like education or public safety in the ways that can contribute to the economic downturn. So, it adds triggers that depend on the cases of the COVID-19 at the state level to make an additional increase in the federal share of Medicaid in the places that are particularly hard hit. The third response looks like this: fix the possible holes in the safety net. One of the efficient and fastest fiscal response to an economic downturn is the automatic increase in the safety net through the unemployment insurance, which was earlier known as the food stamp program. But this program may not, operate as intended during the outbreak of a disease. To receive the unemployment insurance, individuals must search for the work and be available to take a job. different people have different opinions on may have different opinions on this. Should these requirements, be waived or it's fine? In addition, if the situation, deteriorates, the schools are closed, whether there will be any eligibility of the household with children to make up their assets to subsidize school meals. Lastly, there will be almost certainly be some demand which is placed on the services for the poor. An emergency allocation of adding money for TANF would help to make sure the vulnerable receive the help they need. The fourth response is engage in targeted lending cushions based on the supply chain bottlenecks or temporary losses due to demand cutbacks. While Federal Reserve have lowered the borrowing cost broadly, it is not able to target specific, farms as per the article. The Federal Reserve provide guidance to bank to lengthen the loan terms and range limits to take into account the temporary challenges which is based on problems which are associated with COVID-19. So what do you think? Do you agree or disagree with the fiscal responses that are provided in this article? What are your views on this article? Now, let us proceed to understand each and every learning objective for this chapter on fiscal policy and better understand the various aspects of fiscal policy and link it to the real life examples or the current situations that is happening in the world today.